Now that we put all of the pieces together, let's put them to action. I want to review 3 key steps that I usually use to build a team site. First is to identify the goals. These are important because these will drive your team to using this site. But they're not that easy to judge if you've reached them or not. So the next session is breaking these goals into business needs. These needs are more specific and can easily be checked off as though they've been achieved. Finally, you have the features that you're going to deploy to build this site. These features can directly be mapped to the business needs that are mapped to the goals. We're going to go through a sample site. Let's take a look at these 3 items. First, the goals. We want to centralize the writing process for a team across several departments. They'll all come into one single location instead of using email and different folder structures to look at one document. We want to have a central place for supporting documents, reducing the burden on staff to go searching for different pieces of information they need to build these trainings. And then there are always meetings. We want to simplify and streamline this process so that we know when meetings are happening, we know what tasks are assigned, and we're able to communicate clearly after what's going on. Those goals bring us to the business needs. Let's take a look at them together. Reducing time and rework. Have the trainings been created faster than usual? Easy to find status and deadlines. Well, we'll take a look, and on the front page of the team site, we'll be able to see these things. Centralized communication about the project. How many emails have you sent? How much is put into the newsfeed of this site instead of using email? Is all of the supporting documentation in the site itself? These are things we can track. And finally, an overarching principle is that if all of the information is gathered in one single place, you can rapidly onboard new project team members because they can easily find all of the information about that project or training, in this case, in the one place. Now that we understand our goals and business needs, let's talk about some simple features that we're going to use. First, we're going to look at document templates with custom attributes. We're going to look at workflow based on status, and we're going to just customize some list views to be able to get the information that we want out of this site. Let's see this site live. Following the goals and business needs, I've looked at those features and added it to a team site to make it easy for my team to work on trainings. Let's take an overall look at this site. Do we have all of the elements that we've reviewed so far? Yeah, we do. We have the top navigation, we have the left navigation, we have the site activities, and we have the content in the center of the page. Let's take a look and make sure that I've gone through all of these sections accurately. Let's see if my team has access to this site. So I'll share. I can take a look at who it's shared with. Company, everyone except external users. Okay, great. My team members, Paige and Jen, who are right here, have access to this site. Let me make sure that this is bookmarked. I'll follow this site. I'm now following this site. Let's take a look at how that shows up again in my personal site. Here we see the personal site and all the sites that I'm following, and SharePoint's even suggested some sites that I might want to follow. Let's go back to the site. I know that I'm going to be traveling soon, so I want to sync this document library to my desktop so that I can take my laptop on the plane and work on the files. Looks like I already did that. I've already edited the page to add web parts, so I don't need to do that again. Great, so I've gone through some of the basics to make this site work for my entire team. 'll. 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 'will. 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 Next, let's take a look at the Quick Launch. I've edited it a little bit to make it a little more useful for my team. I've added the sections that we've talked about: communications, activities, and libraries. I find that this is a great way to divide a SharePoint site Quick Launch up. It makes a lot of sense. On the left side here, I have the team notebook for meeting minutes and other ideas, meeting notes, calendar, a knowledge wiki, the tasks that I'm going to use for the team, a picture library for inputting images into the trainings that we're building, and documents to store the trainings themselves. We'll take a look at those in detail in a second. Let's take a look at what's on the home page itself. First, we have the project summary. This is a great out-of-the-box web part that shows you your task list in the timeline view. Looks like my editorial updates are due now, and I have 8 late tasks and 4 upcoming. That's great information. Looking at the timeline, it doesn't exactly look right. But we'll go back to that in a second. If I scroll down a little, what you'll see is a news feed where I've asked Jen if she's taken a look at section 3, and you can see when I added a link directly to the document, it put a little image of that. That's kind of nice. Also, we talked about one of the key business needs was to be able to quickly see the status of the documents. You can see on the right here a view of the document library based on status. So I know that I have one document in editorial review that's due today, one document that's already completed and final, one that's in first rewrite, and another that's not even started. Let's take a look a little bit more into these documents. This is a basic document library, just like we've looked at before. However, what we've done is use document templates to define some custom columns. Those custom columns here are who the author is, who the editor is, the draft review date, and the final review date. We also have the status that we were just looking at. Otherwise, all the features of the document library are exactly as they have been. We can see the Office web app connection to make sure this is the presentation that we want to edit. We can share it with someone directly. We can edit it in PowerPoint itself. We can follow to make sure we can find it again. There we go. Or we can perform other activities under the More button. Also, a key to searching is having the title accurate to the name of the document. So let's check out the properties of this document. Here we see that it's the content type of document, and this is what controls the columns. We can see the name of the document is Intro to TeamSite, and then the title is actually Introduction to TeamSite, the full. That's great. And here are the deadlines. And here again are those statuses. We don't need to change that one. Another thing I'm interested in learning about this document is who's been editing it. Let's take a look at the version history. We can see that no one's edited it yet, so I'm going to have to talk to Jen. We can see the versions here and the columns that have changed during those versions. This team site is solely based around these documents. Let's take a look at the tasks. Why I mentioned that this site is based around the documents is we've used a lookup column in this task list to identify which specific training our tasks are assigned to. If I'd like to, I can come in and filter just to see the tasks that are assigned to the Introduction to TeamSite. You can see that the task list highlights the date in red if the item is past due. Let's go back and clear the filters. If you remember, I mentioned before that something seemed to be missing here. I can see these two items on the timeline, but they don't seem to be connected to anything. Let's take a look. I see List Review up here in the timeline, and I see that List Review 1 is here. I see Page Layout Update. Page Layout Update. Oh, that's under List 2. Let's add that to the timeline. All right, that makes much more sense. So I have the overarching task, List Review 1 and List Review 2, and I have the minor tasks that are assigned to different people. Let's take a look and see which tasks are assigned to me. I have the lucky job of only having a few tasks that are assigned to me. Let me edit this because I know that I've actually completed it, and I don't like seeing that red. A very interesting thing about SharePoint 2013 is when you're in the list view itself, it'll actually try to compare with other content throughout the site that maybe you'd be interested in. Again, presenting information that you didn't even know that you were interested in. Let's edit the file to change the status. Show more. And now, let's say the task status is completed. Great. Another wonderful SharePoint 2013 add-on is this little button here that does a strike-through to say the item is completed. Maybe Paige forgot to say that this item was completed too. Let's just put that. You see the strike-through, and you see the color changes back to black instead of red. This is one great view to be able to see what's happening in your organization. But because we have so much going on, I took the time to customize the calendar. Let's take a look. This calendar is very colorful, and it represents several different things. First of all, you can see in blue that we have our team calendar events. So we have a conference call, and we have a video conference, and again we have Jen's birthday party. In red, you'll see that we have the final reviews for the different documents. Introduction to TeamSite here, communications, collaboration here. So you can see what your workload is going to be during the week. Also, we have a calendar view of draft review. It shows up in teal here. Yes, that's dark teal. And finally, the tasks that we're just reviewing are showing up in purple. If you've been following this, you'll notice that the final review and draft review are actually items based on the document library. I've created a custom view in calendar mode that allows you to overlay your document library on top of calendar and differentiate with colors. At the same time, there's a built-in calendar view of the tasks, again adding other colors to make this visually interesting. So I've just used the document library in about 3 different ways and made it so we can see exactly what's going on our schedule for our team. Another way that our team needs to communicate is through meeting notes. Let's take a look at meeting notes. In our case, the meeting notes are actually, again, built within the task list. We've just created a column called Meeting that organizes the different tasks based on the date that they were assigned. You can also see again that these tasks are individually assigned to specific trainings. This is a great way to hold people accountable and create transparency for what's going on in your meetings. Another way to record notes is in a wiki. Here, we've started to store background information. You'll notice here a quick description, central location to store background information, and 2 pages. This really isn't that helpful right now, so let me edit this page. Sometimes what I like to do is insert a table to make it more visually easy to read. So I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to put the names of the trainings in here. All right, now we can put our information in the according column. These are actually managing documents. Now I know there are different sections in the introduction to the team site. So I'll add pages. Now, once I press save, you'll see inactive links that want you to create pages and the active links that have pages in them. I'll quickly go to the Adding Document page so you can see that I've just copied and pasted information directly into the page. Now, if I need to go back for review, I can see where I got my background information. If I go back home, I can now create a page automatically to support the Introduction to TeamSite training. It's important to gain the interest of the student. Let's press save. You can see here that the title of the page is up here, and now the text that I've typed in is right there. You'll notice also that when I win a wiki library, it presents its own navigation over the quick launch. This home right here is the home of the wiki page. This home is the home of the team site. Now back at the team site, hopefully you can see how all of the pieces that we've reviewed to this point can be put together quickly and easily to create an active team or project site.